Make sure the structures are made to safety standards. One of the options that we look into was reducing the front setback to 10 feet on the directly in front of the driveway. This will allow for residents to do a 10 by 20 structure to cover their car in the front of their garage or carport. But at the same time, allowing for the visibility triangle to still be in place. If council's direction is to move forward with this text amendment, we will come back with the specifics on the design of the structure, including having all the sides open to for the structure and not blocking any visibility. This is an example what it will look like. So instead of 20 feet, we will reduce that regulation to 10, allowing them to do a 10 by 20 structure in the front. So at least for this specific structure, we do have engineer design standards that they can use, so they don't have to spend money on the engineering design. We have this standard available for them to use, and they will be able to use it in the front setback. For any wood construction, we also have design standards that they can use. For the rear, one change that we can do is changing the accessory building requirement for a permit. Right now, anything less than 120 square feet is exempt from a building permit. So the proposed change will be making that to 200. So anything less than 200 square feet will not require a permit, as long as they comply with the 3 feet distance to the property lines and 6 feet from the main structure. On the side yard setback, the amendment will be to include an exception to allow to reduce the side setback. This will have to comply with the NFPA 1 standard. And basically, it specifies the requirement on the material ventilation and making sure that the fire doesn't go to the next building. So this amendment will allow for the city to review in a case-by-case basis, depending on the design of the structure on the side yard setback. So it will be a specific exception to the side yard setback on the zoning code. And as I mentioned, if we get direction from council after tonight's discussion, this is the proposed timeline for these changes to take effect. We'll be taking this to the PNC Commission in April, and by May 26th, those changes to be in place.
Any questions from council? Because I got a couple, but please. Any questions, comments? Jose, I asked you earlier to put a booklet, a little thing together. Did you? So you can pass it people that are interested, everything that you put here. I ask you to do
Yeah,
put
so,
it and
we
then
put a flyer in place, English and Spanish with the proposed changes. And the gentleman on the back will have them available for any resident that.
okay, and we spoke too about the problems that the city's been carrying before, like these two gentlemen. And we discussed that is going to treat it by one. All I'm asking is be a little patient with us. We are working on it. And whatever happened before, it happened. But we're trying to find a way to fix it. But we do need time, and basically I'm asking for your patience. We're trying to do what is best for everybody and treat everybody equally. Questions, comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question, Jose, for the proposed text amendment to the city code. The pictures you showed of the shade structures, they don't look like a Maya Sombra. That's what the people are looking for. The change wouldn't allow a Maya Sombra, but it would allow something that we are displaying on the television. So
That
it's,
is correct.
it's gonna be, it's gonna have specific material that they could use.
So the NFPA one sets standards for testing on the material. So if they provide a material that is Maya Sombra and comply with that testing requirement, it will be allowed. But it will-
Can you go back to the first picture where he has the Maya Sombra? Vice Mayor, yes, is Maya Sombras, or it can be like in the pictures that were after this. There's different options that people can have according to the fire department. And Rick, are you here? Can you please come and help Mr. Guzman about the material and why? Rick represents the fire department.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. Within the code, if a structure is to be built, it is up to the person who owns the property to provide the technical aspects of it. We only want something that's going to disintegrate quickly. We do not want something that's going to carry heat and fire from one neighbor to the next. So if it's a cloth, if it's a canvas, if it's a polyester material, those tend to burn away very quickly. If it's something that's fire retardant, then that's going to carry the heat and the fire.
Before it was required that it was slow burning. Now is wood material that will burn quickly.
Correct.
So it will not spread. Okay, that's one of the changes.
Rick, on that change, when did the NFPA change that code? Which section was it? Because 6 years ago, you told us at that very same podium that they had to be fire deterrent. And that was a big driver to the decision that was made.
So NFPA 1, 10.11, every new and existing building or structure shall be constructed, arranged, equipped, maintained, and operated in accordance with the code so as to provide a reasonable level of life safety, property protection, and public welfare from the actual and potential hazards created by fire. This has been in the code. As far as fire retardant, that may have been Chief Green. I couldn't tell you,
Okay. So
but
you'll be able to test based on plans that, or how
I'm
how-
sorry.
you would be able to be testing and reviewing plans, and based on that, you would make the decision, or
With the
when it
information
comes to the
provided-
material?
With the information provided by the homeowner, if this is what we want to build, and this is the manufacturer's specifications, we can look at it. Shouldn't be a problem. We have a problem with wood-built pergolas and that kind of stuff, because that's going to carry fuel load. Anything with solid metal, that's going to carry heat and fire to the neighbor. So basically, we have nothing in this code as far as shade covers other than protecting your neighbor or whatever structure you build.
Okay.
Yes, Gloria,
Yes,
please.
I do have a comment. I know that this regarding the shade is a necessity. Las sombras es una necesidad en el ambiente en que nosotros vivimos ahorita. El calor aquí es inmenso, entonces sí necesitamos buscar la manera, José. We need to find out the way that people can do the shades. It is very important because most of the people need those shades. Y sí tenemos, es una necesidad, no es por gusto, la gente las pone por necesidad, porque el calor aquí es agobiante. Entonces sí necesitamos buscar una forma de ayudar a nuestra comunidad en esa forma.
Yes, I've only been here for 2 months, and I gotta thank Rick and Mr. Guzman from Planning and Zoning and your staff that we've been working diligently for 2 months to reach this point. And we need to change the code, Gloria, to make it work and be fair with everybody. And thank you for helping and putting up with me, especially because since I decided to be here and be a pest, they know this is very important for our community. And we need to treat everybody under the same rules. And if there's some shades that are already there, that we need to find a way to accommodate them. If they need to restructure, it's not like take it down. That's not acceptable. There's always a fix to a problem. We cannot be, no, thank you. We cannot be like inflexible. There's always a fix. And we're here to make life better for everybody. Any more questions and comments?
Can you
Señor,
please
¿puede
come to the
pasar al
podium?
podio, por favor? Mi nombre es Alberto Cárdenas, vivo en el 1582 San Pedro. En la otra administración, en cierta manera, nos obligaron, ¿verdad? Para poder tener la malla sombra, en contratar o hacer un cambio a la aseguranza que teníamos en nuestra casa, lo cual nos subió el costo de la aseguranza, ¿verdad? Y cumplimos el requisito con la otra administración, ¿verdad? Para poder conservar la malla sombra, ¿verdad? En la cual estipulaban que pues en caso de que hubiera un incendio, ¿verdad? Ocasionado por la malla sombra, pues la aseguranza iba a cubrir los daños que ocasionara el evento, ¿verdad? Entonces, esta es una de las maneras en la que la otra administración, vamos a decir, permitió que conserváramos las mallas sombra. No sé si ustedes estaban enterados o no.
Voy a hablar en español, ¿ok? Para que el señor me entienda. Hay personas aquí que siempre dicen el otro alcalde, la otra administración, todo esto, todo lo demás. Para mí, el pasado es el pasado. Yo nada más les pido, denos la oportunidad de trabajar para ustedes. Lo que pasó no lo puedo cambiar.
No, yo entiendo.
Pero lo estamos haciendo, señor. Lo estamos haciendo y créame lo que lo entiendo.
Sí, yo entiendo, vea, lo que usted está, lo que quiere decir, vea, pero es mi comentario, vea, como están haciendo énfasis de qué manera podríamos hacer algo, y pues esto es una de las cosas, vea, que se logró.
Muchas gracias. No more comments. Oh, there's somebody in the back. Please come forward.
Flavio Rascón, otra vez. Escuchando lo que dicen, que el problema es que que en caso que haga un fuego, que pase al vecino seguido. Yo no tendría ni un problema si mi vecino, me pidiera permiso para una malla sombra, y si entre vecinos nos pudiéramos ayudarnos entre nosotros mismos, y si no, ¿sabes qué? Yo no tengo ningún problema con la sombra, y haciendo como vecinos, llegando a un acuerdo en vecinos, si no, ¿sabes qué? A mí no me afecta que tú tengas una sombra, o no me afecta que el vecino tenga sombra. Yo creo que también debería haber un acuerdo entre vecinos para que todos pudiéramos, si el vecino tiene un problema, pues ya sería diferente, pero si estamos los vecinos de acuerdo, no sé por qué habría un problema en eso.
Sí, hay un problema y le voy a decir por qué. Permítame, no se me vaya. Ok, ahorita tiene muy buenos vecinos, y si un día le llega un vecino del infierno, que se vaya un buen vecino y venga otro y diga, yo no quiero la sombra de este señor, la ciudad tiene un problema muy grande. Por eso,
Pues
ok.
digo, nomás era un comentario.
Sí, no, sí, pero también está ese lado, ok.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Felicidades que tiene buenos vecinos.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
nomás para agregar, yo creo que todos en esta sala estamos de acuerdo que es una necesidad y que se le está tratando de encontrar una solución legal. Nadie está diciendo que no es una necesidad. Y también hay que recordar que la persona que está haciendo estas mallas sombras lo está haciendo ilegalmente y está defraudando a la gente. No es la ciudad, no es usted, es un contratista que se está anunciando y está haciendo algo ilegal porque él sabe que necesita un permiso de construcción de ellos para hacer. Entonces también hay que también quitar un poco la culpa y al contratista que engaña a la persona que les vende la casa o la malla sombra y se las construye lamentablemente en la noche o en un fin de semana. Pero de que son necesidad y de que se está buscando, como dice usted, una solución legal, totalmente.
Parte de nuestra obligación es educar a nuestros residentes y ciudadanos. No se les olvide, ¿ok? Porque sí, you're absolutely right. We tend to believe anybody that goes and knocks at the door, and that's on us when we do not go and school ourselves. So very well taken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm gonna speak in Spanish. Yo también quiero agregar que sé que la mayoría de nosotros también queremos que sea un proceso justo y con igualdad para todos, porque yo sé que no soy el único miembro del Cabildo con el que han hablado de que, oye, pero en esta casa hace 3 meses construyeron una sombra y ahí está. Entonces, aparte de que todos queremos que esto suceda, siento que todos queremos también que haya un proceso con igualdad para todos y gracias pues al trabajo de la alcaldesa con el Departamento de Planning and Zoning y bomberos, pues estamos tratando de llevar a este cambio y que esto sea justo para todos, que todos tengan el mismo trato y como dijo la alcaldesa, posiblemente en el pasado ustedes construyeron una malla sombra o algún otro tipo de estructura para cubrir sus carros y sus casas y sus propiedades. Entonces hay que trabajar juntos. Como dijo ella, ténganos paciencia. Sí los escuchamos, sí queremos hacer un cambio para beneficiarlos a todos y salir adelante con esta gran necesidad que tenemos. Entonces, no es un juego de política de que porque queremos que un contratista sí pueda, otro no. O sea, queremos simplemente que todos tengan el privilegio de tener una malla sombra si la necesitan o sienten que la necesitan en su hogar.
Pase para adelante, por favor.
Nuestra mayor, que nos disculpen los que tomaron su palabra, pero en realidad no es una compañía que esté defraudando a todas las personas que quieren malla sombra, no es cierto. Cada quien buscamos a un herrero calificado para que nos ande haciendo las estructuras y nosotros la estamos ensamblando en nuestras casas para poner la malla sombra, porque como dijimos es una necesidad. Y fue lo que le dije al inspector que me mandó a corte. Y él lo único que dijo que como no están permitidos que me mandaba a corte. Y eso no se me hace justo porque usted sabe el calor que hace aquí y los carros cómo se calientan cuando uno se sube. Todo eso le expliqué a él. Y no se me hace justo que yo me ande quemando las manos, puedo hasta chocar, porque el carro está caliente y no se enfría, no se enfría pronto en el verano. Así que vas quemándote las manos. Yo he querido chocar por lo mismo, de que no aguanto el volante y saliendo de la casa. Pero, como sí es cierto, muchas veces, pues, si ustedes ponen a alguien calificado para hacer la estructura, pues a lo mejor estaría mejor porque así podían hacer un permiso, o a lo mejor que pongan un permiso ustedes y que ustedes vean que la estructura está bien hecha, con buen material.
Mire, vamos aclarando. La ciudad no tiene ningún interés en hacer ninguna clase de sombra y voy a tener que tomar un poquito de partido con los pobres inspectores que van. Ellos, los empleados de la ciudad son empleados de la ciudad y ellos siguen reglas. Nosotros aquí hacemos reglas y los que tienen que enseñar la cara y ir a explicar y oírlos, hay veces la mayor parte del tiempo, pues, que los ofendan o que tú por qué y todo esto, ¿no? Son los empleados de la ciudad que nada más están haciendo su trabajo. También tengan un poquito de consideración con los empleados de la ciudad porque ellos son unos empleados. Si tienen quejas, vengan aquí con nosotros, pero vengan nosotros que estamos haciendo leyes, estamos poniendo reglas Ellos no las ponen, ellos nada más las implementan. Entonces, vamos a seguir adelante, denos la oportunidad, ¿ok?
Ok, pero con su permiso, pero en la corte le dijo a la juez que el Siri no lo mandó a él para que me mandara a corte, sino que él dijo que era por parte del mismo. Ese es el
Bueno,
error que él
ya,
cometió.
y como le digo, lo que pasó antes yo no puedo decirle, pero denos la oportunidad de enseñarle que estamos en la mejor disposición. Es lo que les pido. Y también les pido que cuando vaya un oficial, un empleado de la ciudad o cuando vengan a pagar al agua, no se disgusten, son empleados. Vengan y grítenos a nosotros. Nosotros somos los que hay veces nos tomamos libertades o pensamos que estamos haciendo lo mejor, ponemos reglas y los empleados de la ciudad tienen que enseñar la cara por nosotros. Vengan, yo los invito para que nos concienticen.
Espero que así sea porque la otra administración no daban la
Ya
cara.
pasó. Ándele, gracias.
Gracias.
Ándele. Si no hay más comentarios, preguntas, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to read part of the summary. It says here, the city's current regulations allow for the construction of cloth shade structure as long as they comply with building code regulations, including engineering design and zoning regulations pertaining to the required building setbacks. This means that the structure must be designed and constructed to meet all safety standards, safety structural requirements, and must be placed at the appropriate distance from property line and other buildings as specified by the zoning regulations according to the building setbacks. That's why we did what we did. We were concerned for the safety of people's homes. It's all about safety. It's not that we don't want you guys to have shades. Of course, I would like to have one too. But we had regulations, federal regulations. That's what we based it off of. Is that correct, Mr.?
I wasn't part of the original shade structure controversy. But according to the code that I've gone through, as long as they're built and nothing can be transferred from one residence to the next reasonably, we don't have a problem.
And we just want to specifically instruct people, the residents of San Luis, that they have to come get permits. That's all. Get permits because there was people building a lot of shaded structure without permits. They might have not known. Maybe the person building the structure lied to them. I don't know. I don't have a shaded structure, but I know there was a lot of shaded structures just popping up without city permits. That's why the city did this. That's why council approved this. Not because we don't want you to have shaded structures. We want things properly done by federal regulations. We didn't put it higher than the federal regulations or below. They were the same across the board.
Okay.
That's the comment I
Mayor,
want.
may I ask a question to
Yes.
Mr. Guzman? 6 years ago, when we did this, we provided also engineering schematics, and I know we went out to engineering, which is, you showed the picture of one of them on the slide. Since then, how many residents actually have complied? Do you have that number? How many permits have been pulled due to these engineering plans that we provided to residents 6 years ago?
Based on this plans,
Right.
none.
And we provided this to them 6 years ago, so if they want to do it legally, per code, per fire.
They could follow this standard.
So right now, the only thing we're looking at to do is honestly, based on what I'm understanding, is just change the setbacks to the front. But yet again, they still have to follow the standards of the engineering provided, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
They can either do the engineering that we provided or provide their own design.
Because I remember we paid for someone to do the engineering, to provide something to the community, then that was one of the fixes, so the change would be the setbacks of 10 feet in the front, that would be one change that we're working to do. But they still have to do the engineering, not just hire someone from across the street or Mexico to build it for them. They can if they're built to the engineering schematic, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, this item was just discussion.
There's no motion.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
I think we should move forward with the timeline that Mr. Guzman presented.
Okay.
This is direction.
Well, you heard, continue working, keep everybody informed. When people comes to your department, I expect you guys to be patient. Not everybody understands setbacks. So we're here to do a job, be firm, but fair. And if you're gonna give me information, it better be the same one that you're gonna give the person behind me or next to me. All right, that's all I'm asking. Make us look kind of decent. Okay? Thank you.
Item number 6B, discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding consulting services to conduct a total compensation study and a classification and analysis total compensation study. Adela Cortez, Human Resources Director. Adela.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of council. Initially, this agenda item was submitted as a request for approval to conduct a compensation and classification study. Since the current pay plan for the city of San Luis was established back in 2018, the benchmarks we currently have for salaries are outdated about 5 years. And when I first came to the city in June, there was a proposal to complete this study, and it was for $196,000, which I thought was kind of high, and I asked for time to research and find other vendors to do a cost comparison. And I finally got to the point where I could make recommendations, which is what this item is summarizing. But just as early as yesterday and today, Human Resources has received information, a salary compensation that was completed by the Arizona League of Cities and Towns, which has the 2023 compensation study, of which we were a part because we were surveyed for our information, just like all other municipalities in Arizona. And we also received data from one of the vendors that is listed here. They completed a classification and compensation study for the city of Yuma, which was just presented in December. So since this data is now available for us, and it can help us to do the benchmarking and update our pay plan, as a public servant and dedicated to utilize funds, as wisely as possible, I'm asking if we could utilize this data to update our pay plan rather than spending the $125,000 and instead reallocate that possibly for salary increases for employees. And if we were to go that route, then we can have an updated pay plan in benchmarks by the budget preparation of this year. And that way, increases do not have to be delayed, because most of these studies do take time. And if we go that route, we wouldn't have something prepared until maybe 12 to 14 months from now.
Any questions, comments? Because I got a couple. Okay, first of all, Adela, I really want to say thank you. You and I had a conversation about how I feel about doing studies that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It takes the longest time, and by the time we receive them, if it's not acted on or we don't have the funds, okay? And who pays for this? Everybody pays. But the ones that are really paying the ultimate price is the city employees, that in my view, we have really good city employees. I'm not saying everybody's a really good employee, but most of the ones that I had the pleasure of talking to, they are. My respects to you, that you listen, that you told the administrator and yours truly about what you were doing. You're the type of employee that should be commended, because you're thinking about how to save money and how to make things work. You really impressed me. And I only been here for 2 months, and I'm not easy to impress. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. Because at the end of the day, whatever we say, we can use it on city employees' salaries, like we said. So it's great that you utilizing these things that are in your fingertips. So that's my comment, and thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I agree 200% with you, and I know you don't like the saying in the past, but in the past, one of these companies was hired and rejected by council because of the complaints and because of people that were directly related to people here, and got rejected, so we had to go out and waste more money on another salary study that provided us with the same results. So I just want to get that on the record. So it's not that the attempts haven't been done in the past, but they have. My only concern would be that even before my time, when they use data that's already available, when you don't have a position that falls below the same benchmark, you will be making those decisions, right? So we're gonna start getting those complaints that, oh, well, Matias is getting a raise because he knows the mayor, Maria is getting a raise, or doesn't because we don't like Maria, and I'm just saying. So that's not gonna be a problem like it used to be, because that was a really big problem before.
With all due respect.
Well, with all due respect, Adela, please allow me to answer
that
this
means no
one.
respect.
Okay. I'm asking all of you, and I'm going to set the pace, okay? We should let her do her job. She's the expert. If we want to take her position, any one of us, come and spend 8-10 hours in here, and we fire her, and whatever has better solutions, they can do it. But our job is to legislate, not to interfere, especially with human resources. My promise to you is that I'm never gonna go and question your ability or go and ask you, why do you hire so-and-so? Or I want you to hire somebody. And believe me, it's very difficult because people tend to think that the mayor and council members, we can decide who are gonna come and work and how much are they gonna make. So we need to, again, school our constituents that that's not our job. Whatever, again, Tadeo, whatever past happened in the past, okay? Let's let our city administrator, our legal department, human resources, planning and zoning, police department, and I can name every single one, let them do their job. Let's show a little bit of restraint and respect. Because my pledge to you is anybody that works for the city in 2 months, if I had gone over to a department and had requested information or trying to push people around. When I go, it's just because I want to know what went wrong and help me fix it. And I'm trusting all of you that you guys are doing everything with the best of your ability, and you don't have an agenda. So
No,
it starts with us.
no, yeah, it starts with us, and that's what, and just like you, I've only been here 2 months, so, and I don't think she's not doing her job, but I have PTSD from council members that were doing what you just said, and it was making it really hard for the office of the city manager to get things done the way they should be done, because they have the ear of people or they're related to someone. So I'm just foreseeing pitfalls, but not against the idea. That's.
Adela, you were gonna say something when I
Oh,
interrupted you, sorry.
I was just gonna touch on, I have 25 years of experience in HR, so I've learned through my career, not, that I never was, but there's a high, level of integrity and ethics in HR. We have to be an impartial, party. We are the police department of the agency to say when something is done right or wrong. And I, people ask me, why are you in HR? I love HR. I like the challenge. I'll do things by the book. And you know, that's what I have to say.
Any other questions, comments?
I just want to say thank you and thank you for mentioning that integrity that we are holding in our department. I do have a question in regards to this last budget retreat, and this might be a question to Director of Finance, Monica. I know we did an increase of rates this past budget retreat, utilizing a formula for employees based on a study that was done. So, and I know that we were trying to push everyone to their 100% on that study. So was this a study done in 2018 that we were trying to fully implement, or was this a study that was done internally?
It was based, I believe, you're here. I was gonna try.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor. We have been working towards bringing the salaries to the minimum of the recommendations of the 2018 salary study. We already there. So pretty much that's the reason that we're in this point, that we're ready to keep going forward. That 2018 has already been done. We're there, the minimum. Now we're trying to work towards like inflation, bringing salaries to competitive, trying to see where we should be, is an old study. And I think that just taking a second look and revamping it and reviewing, I think that's the next step. And I think that pretty much that's what HR is trying to do.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
And in the meantime, I do want to say that there's been a good number of positions that have been studied. It's not that we're just there working with the 2018. In what I could look in history, there's about 50 positions that have been studied since then. And I only went back to 2020 on the history. In certain departments like water, wastewater have been completely restructured with a succession plan implemented as well as an apprenticeship program. And we recently just finished in HR a study for law enforcement. So we haven't presented that yet to city manager, but we just did that internally in HR so that we can help the police department prepare for their new budget presentation.
Thank you.
Comments, questions? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor.
Just a minute, excuse
Yes,
me.
sorry.
I would like to make a comment.
Yes,
you, Mayor.
please.
Thank you. If there is any way you can save money, we greatly appreciate it. The ultimate goal is to keep our employees at a proper rate in competing with other cities, because we don't want them to leave to another city because of getting offered more money. We know the value of every employee, and that's the goal. So yes, we're very for this study, but if you can save money, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank
And
you.
we're looking at, because we're going through the challenges of recruiting and attracting. So definitely we have to take care of the salaries.
Okay, nobody else? I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to direct staff to analyze the raw data the city has and provide a salary structure.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Everybody in agreement? Signifying?
Aye.
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 Against? Motion carries. Adela, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Item number 6C, discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding the purchase of a 7.5-ton bridge crane for the fleet maintenance building expansion. Manuel Hernandez, Public Works Project Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, honorable council members. Public Works is here tonight seeking council approval for the purchase of a bridge crane for our new fleet maintenance building. The new bridge crane is essential for moving and working on large pieces of equipment and parts. Currently, our division of fleet is utilizing forklifts and other means that are not as efficient to work on these large pieces of equipment. In order to align with the construction schedule, Public Works needs to purchase this bridge crane this month. The lead time is approximately 10 to 12 weeks on this device. And we're seeking council approval for the purchase in the amount of $130,000, and to waive formal procurement procedures. This purchase does fall under the provisions of City Code for procedures waived.
Questions, comments from council? Well, thank you for taking San Luis to the next level. Thank you. Okay, I mean, it's about time. When I go and I see how they moving heavy equipment around, it's very dangerous. And this is really good. This is a good change. This will help a lot on the men and women that works in those departments, and we ask a lot from them. And it's about time. Anybody else? Not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor,
I move to approve the purchase of a 7.5-ton bridge crane from Dearborn Crane and Engineering not to exceed 130,000, authorized budget transfer as stated in the agenda fiscal item and to waive formal procurement procedures for the reason presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you, Manuel.
Item number 60, discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding the authorization to reallocate the budgeted funds from the Fleet Shop project to the Fernando Padilla Community Center Repair Project. Yolanda Dueñas, Facility Supervisor.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Yolanda Dueñas from the Facilities Division. As most of you are aware, the Fernando Padilla Community Center was vacated after issues with the roof. After visiting the Fernando Padilla Community Center, an initial assessment was done for rehab, repairs, and remodeling that was identified. And due to the condition of the building, it was decided to completely remodel the building for possible staff, city staff use. The remodeling of the building will include roofing, flooring, electrical, plumbing, which includes the restrooms, patching, painting, ceiling tiles, and cabinets. Finance was able to identify a budget capacity of 100,000 within the Fleet Shop project that is available for use for the Fernando Padilla Community Center project. The San Luis Code sections 305, 110, and ARS sections 34-201 require bidding at more than 23,548 through fiscal year as adjusted annually for inflation. We have received many of the bids. We are still pending a few that construction companies have come in to see the building and provide us with the quotes. Till now, the amount that we have is like 140,000. And we still have a few more to come, but for now, staff would like to request authorization from Mayor and City Council to reallocate 100,000 of unexpended budget funds from the Fleet Shop project to Fernando Padilla Community Project. This would allow staff to subcontract vendors needed to perform remodeling of the building. I don't know if you have
Any questions, comments from council?
I just want to mention that by looking at the pictures and the damage that needs to be repaired, I think as a city, we need to be a little bit more cautious of like our buildings that we lease to any other organizations, just to make sure that they are taking care of those buildings as if they were their own. Now that we have to spend this amount of money to repair this item or this building, if we would have been a little bit more cautious about it, perhaps the damage would have been such or as severe as it currently is.
Yolanda, how old is this building?
How is this building?
How old?
How old? It is probably
20-some years.
80,
Older, right? Yeah,
89.
it was already here. We're
It's
talking 30.
35 years or something.
It's
Yeah,
more, I
30.
know it's more than 30.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all I
yeah.
can-
I was thinking about the swimming pool,
It's more than 30.
24.
Like I say, in the past 12 years, nothing's been
When
done
I,
to the
when I
building.
got here, it was already,
Yeah, that's true.
They never do repairs and everything in that
Any
building?
updates now?
we have a few pictures if you wanna show them on the slide. And I can also, if you're interested, I can take you to the building and you can take a look if you would like to tour the building as well.
Yes, anybody from the council that would like to tour the building? Maria, you were gonna say something? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yes, Mayor,
Yes.
thank you. I did, Mayor, take a tour of the building. It does need a lot of, repairs. As you guys have commented, this is a very old building, so $100,000 is like, nowadays, it's like, I think we need to spend a little bit more, but, because it
We
is,
will.
it's
Destroyed.
it's just old, you know, and so I think if we do a major remodeling job, it would be a very beautiful building, if it does get approved, if, you know, for the next person to be conducting business there. I'm not saying who, or, you know, for the next, organization but, I did take a tour and yes, it needs help.
Yeah, the building being old should not be in such a bad shape to begin with. I'm old and I consider myself in good shape, okay? Just want to clarify that one. I take care of myself. You take care of a building, go to Guanajuato. They're 450 years old and they're in prime condition because people takes the time to take care of them. Something that I know that Yolanda is not telling you because she's so shy, and another person that I'm impressed with, when I got a hold of the problem and I went and toured it, and I told Yolanda, you know how we can do this? You should run this project and we will help you. I mean, I have only 32 years experience. And what she's doing, she's saving the city about $70,000 because she took it apart herself. And of course, a couple of my foremen came over and they were very impressed with her. So she took this project from the bottom and see how far she's coming. I'm excited to see how you're gonna finish it up. But she's saving lots of money for the city. And that building is not gonna go to any other organizations or anybody else. If you tour this building, there's some departments that are like sardines, one on top of the other one. We have buildings that our staff can use so they can have better working conditions. That building, if you approve this, a couple of departments are gonna be moving over there. So the city needs to start taking control of their few assets that they have, and we start with the buildings. And it's nothing personal about anybody else, but it's not like the city has all these buildings that they can let somebody go and spend years and years without not paying rent and not taking care of them. So that's my 2 cents. Tadeo?
Yes, Madam Mayor, and just to add to that, let's not forget that, you know, we have to be proactive and have smart planning. And this building needs some expansion and maintenance as well because it's getting old and we just keep, you know, it's like patching and it's great, the project and what you're doing and that's like almost a historical building for us. So I'm out for that, but let's not forget about this because in 10 years, I don't know if we'll be here or not, but you know, they'll be stuck with this same problem that, you know, that it has been brought up in the past.
I was told that 5 years ago, they had quotes and everything on restocking because you don't have to be a genius to see that the building is in bad shape, especially in the outside, the cracks and everything. And the bid was for $750,000. And I started laughing. I said, well, 5 years later, you're gonna pay double the amount. Just on what little I know. So yeah, we're gonna take building by building as we, yes, sir? Can you come over,
Mr.
please?
Allen, can you come to the podium?
My name's James Allen. I'm a resident here in San Luis,
Address?
and I'm a retired Navy person. I have a question. In the military, if an item got so old and you're dumping a lot more money into it and it exceeds the value of the item, you're absolutely going backwards because you're going to wind up reinventing the wheel again to patch it again. Whereas if it exceeds a certain dollar amount, building new, I understand, is actually, believe it or not, in the long run, cheaper. Because you're getting a better structure altogether, all the way around. I do understand money's not there. That's why I understand where she's coming from with trying to, because it's historical and keeping it up. But once you go above, say, for example, the historical value, which members of the council know that it's worth, it begins to be a thought to sit down and say, are we revisiting it again? You're gonna wind up more money. And you're banging your head, whoever the new council is, banging their head, well, why do we do that? We have to be smart because, of course, everybody's coming out of COVID. The city has picked up costs from all these folks coming across the border, and it's drained a lot of funds for this city. And we have to really think smart on what we're gonna do with it.
This,
just
this amount of money, if it goes to $150,000 to replace that building has really good bones. It would take, I'll say roughly, little that I know about construction, only 30-some years. If we were to replace that building, it will be about $1.5 million, right, Matias? You know a little bit of buildings. So no, this is money very well spent, and that building will last another 30, 50 years if we take care of it. Okay? And I thank you for your concern. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? If not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to
A
approve the
question
Yes.
first, just to make sure, this question was gonna come, this is not gonna affect the fleet building, correct? Just verifying those funds that we're transferring aren't gonna affect our
No,
construction.
It won't because
I had to ask it, you were looking at me earlier, so,
Yes.
all right.
No. The finances they work together, and there's some funds there that they didn't use, and this is how they being used. So, okay,
We're so close to the finish line, bro.
Maria, yes.
I just wanted to continue on Matias' subject, since Matias was a very strong advocate for the new building. So he just wanted to make sure that it's not going to delay any of it. But thank you, Matias. He's always been pushing for that new building, the
Day
facilities
one.
building.
Okay, well, I entertain the motion?
Not that, I move to approve the budget transfer for $100,000 as stated in the fiscal impact statement.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Everybody in agreement?
Hi.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much, Yolanda. Can't wait to see the finished product.
Item
Yes.
number 6E, continued public hearing followed by discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding conditional use permit case number 2022-0592. A request by Dahl Robbins and Associates on behalf of HMS Development LLC for a conditional use permit from section 18.35.30C1 of the City of San Luis zoning ordinance to allow a commercial building with a gross floor area greater than 50,000 square feet. Assessors parcel number 776-34-260, located south of Cesar Chavez Boulevard between 7th Avenue and 8th Avenue in San Luis, Arizona. Fernando Villegas, Principal Planner.
Mr. Velez, right now I'm gonna declare a possible conflict of interest, and I'm gonna ask our Vice Mayor to take over. Please.
Thank you, Mayor. So, to begin the item, I would need a motion to open public hearing, please.
So we continue, we're opening, motion to open public hearing.
There's a
Second.
motion, there's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Mr. Villegas?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, City Council. The City of San Luis zoning ordinance, as mentioned, requires a conditional use permit for any building with a gross floor area greater than 50,000 square feet. In the community commercial zoning district, which is C2. The applicant is requesting the approval for the construction of a hotel with 132 rooms with the building square footage of 76,421 square feet. The property is located south of Cesar Chavez Boulevard between 7th Avenue and 8th Avenue. You can see on the map that on the north, to the north, we have Vinestar Estates 5 residential development, to the west, commercial land. To the south, Vinestar Estates 2 residential development, and to the east, commercial land and a gas station. You can see it better here in the aerial view. The applicant is proposing to use the west half of the existing parcel for the construction of the hotel. And next, we have a possible site plan. The site plan submitted by the applicant shows that they're gonna have a 20-foot landscaping buffer that is required by the zoning ordinance adjacent to residential development to the south. The site plan shows the buffer, parking space, adjacent to the residential development. Next, we have some pictures, the possible building elevation looking west. The applicant is proposing a 3-story building. We have another one, possible building elevation looking west, looking east. And this next slide shows a possible view looking south from the 3rd floor. The applicant also submitted a drawing today showing the view from the south side of the building. I think you should have a copy of that. The map on the side shows in blue the parcels where staff hand deliver notification letters as requested by the Planning and Zoning Commission. That was one of the conditions of approval. I want to mention that we also sent 3 times notification letters to the adjacent property owners within 300 feet of the property, and the staff received no comments in favor or opposition. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval with the following conditions. Condition number 1, the applicant owner shall comply with the City of San Luis zoning or regulations, building code requirements, public works standards, and any applicable subdivision regulations for commercial development. The second condition, the applicant owner shall submit a trip generation memo for the hotel to determine if the proposed use generates 100 or more trips during the peak hour. If 100 more trips are generated during the peak hour, the applicant will submit a traffic study during the building permit review, and all the permits will be done by the applicant according to the public works standards. And the third condition, we already talked about that. The Planning and Zoning wanted us to hand deliver or send letters to the physical address, and we did that. And staff recommends approval with the first 2 conditions. The applicant agrees with the conditions, and this concludes my presentation. I don't know if you have any questions for staff or the applicant.
I do have a quick question. I know in the past meeting, there was a family, residents of the area here. Were they spoken to and were their doubts clarified?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor. I talked to all the families. They just had general questions about the development, the type of building, and they were under the impression that they were taking property away for the development of the hotel. And I explained to them that it was on existing commercial property. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Yes, Vice Mayor. The plans that are before us show these large trees. Are they gonna be planted that large? Is that what the drawing shows?
Well,
Or are they gonna be tiny saplings and then take 15 years to
Okay.
grow?
Mr. Vice Mayor, council members, the applicant submitted that drawing today. I think he can answer that question, but I think what he's trying to demonstrate is that there will be planting tall buildings to protect the view from the hotel side to the residential side.
There'll be, I'm sorry, repeat that again?
That, I think what they're trying to do is to use the landscaping to protect the hotel view from the resident, from the commercial side to the residential side. And
I see that the developer is here. If you can
Yeah.
step to the podium, please, and clarify.
To answer your question, it's 12 feet when it's planted. The fence line is 6 feet, so that'll give the buffer, and then it's eventually gonna grow up to 50 feet. That's probably what he's gonna say.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor, City Council members, members of the community. My name is Adam Crowell. I'm the Vice President of Development for Greens. We're working in conjunction with HMS Development on behalf of this project. I'm here with our founding principal, Strada Kadafia. And to answer your question, we would plant 24-inch box trees on day one. So grading operations would occur. It takes about 14 to 16 months to build the hotel. So day one, you grade, plant the trees. They'll be about 12 feet tall. And what we found is about at about the 16-foot level, the Texas ash tree that's been submitted grows about 3 feet per year. So by the time that we'd be open for operations, the hotels would be, or the trees that we plant would be about 16, 17 feet tall by the time we would open. So.
Thank you so much.
So I hope that helps clarify. And we're here to answer any of the questions you may have.
I have a comment. I don't oppose to the hotel, but the location, I'm not in agreement with. Last meeting, there were some members of the community who had some questions about that. So I don't know if the couple that was here last time, or is there someone else who wants to speak about that?
So, there's no other questions from council, I would open up the floor for the community to step forward and ask their questions. Any other questions from you guys?
Vice Mayor, I have two questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Your trip generation memo, what is it?
A trip generation memo, what that consists of is it uses ITE trip generation it's the nationally recognized generation rates for hotels. So what you would do is based on the category that you would use, based on the number of rooms, you translate that to how many trips the hotel would produce.
So second question, if the traffic study shows that we need improvement, what kind of improvements are we talking about?
The traffic study would demonstrate, but typically on something like that is they would look at intersection analysis. So the intersection analysis would kind of determine what the peak hour might be and to see if any signal timing modifications have to occur in order to kind of get the traffic to flow better through there. Something else that, you would typically see is maybe if there's not already like a right-hand turn lane or something along those lines, sometimes you'd see that like a right-hand turn lane would be added to help operational efficiency at intersections. So that's generally speaking what a traffic impact study would analyze and look at and see if there's other ways to help traffic in that area.
Thank you.
So this is now a call to the public. If anybody from the public would like to address the council on this issue, you may step forward at this time.
Good evening, council members and mayor and council members. My name is Maria Luz Hoyos. I come here as a private citizen initially, but I also belong to the Gadsden School District School Board. The reason I'm here is because I think that having a new hotel in our city, all the jobs, et cetera, that it will bring is a very good and positive idea and project. Where I do not agree is where the location of this hotel is supposed to be built on. Because you're bringing in a 300-room, I believe, hotel located exactly in front of the offices of the school district, and behind is a primary school. And then the next block is where all the crossing of high school and middle school students takes place. I believe you're very aware of the many, many cases there are of child abduction. And I see this as a great opportunity for anyone who comes into our community and has a perfect view of where our kids go, what time, where, et cetera, et cetera. And this really worries me. And I do not agree at all with the location. I agree with the project 100%. But my God, we're in this desert and there wasn't a better place where you could locate this? It's really something that worries me beyond anything you can imagine, because I've always worked with children. I have my own, I have my grandchildren. I love children. And the fact that something might happen because of this building, of the amount of people that will come into our city and we know nothing of, and we know, I don't know, I don't want to go on and on. I just want to make it clear that I do not think that the location is the only one and not at all the best one. So thank you for listening to me.
No, let me make a comment, Mrs. Hoyos. Are you concerned about the kids crossing or something in front of the hotel? Let me tell you that, the hotel that we have, the Rolo hotel that we have right now in Main Street, there's a lot of kids that coming in from Mexico, they're coming in crossing that hotel. I mean, what was the safety of that hotel too? And another thing is, do we have another place? Do we have land that we can build? Because we need a hotel. We need it. We need it because I have my family, they come in and they had to go to San Luis, so they had to go to Yuma. We need it and let me tell you, I don't think that we had land. I don't know if we have land we say, no, we don't want it here. We want it over here. We don't have, I mean, there's no place to put it on, and we need it. We need it.
Well, actually, that is not my problem. That is my concern. And I have to voice it because the other hotels, the only one is on Main Street, I believe. I don't know if there's another one, but I'm not aware of it. And of course, people come and go. But basically, the traffic of people that we have are people who come and go on a daily basis, that work in the field, and that are residents. What I'm talking about is people who we don't know will come because, yeah, it's a very nice hotel, blah, blah, blah. But people with other intentions, and that will have a very clear view of how our children, what time they go out of school, where they go, et cetera, which gives many more opportunities for abductions. And that is my worry, and that is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoyos. If you want to listen to all of the comments from the public and then address all of them at once. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Luisa Arriola. My address 3685 East San Pedro. I'm here as a union leader for the Gadsden Elementary School District. I'm not here as an employee for the Gadsden, but more as a union member, representing the teachers, representing the students, representing the community in education. What we see, especially where I used to work at Southwest, the traffic, the safety of our kids, and we see that. We know we need a hotel, we need the jobs, but do we have the manpower in case they go on a lockdown? Because I've been on a lockdown in the school. Do we have the manpower to be able to cover those? Do we have the social services to be able to cover those in case there's a situation that happens? Because if anybody comes in, we have 300 rooms with limited public service.
Excuse me, ma'am,
Yes.
they're not 300 rooms.
How many is it?
133 rooms, 133.
Well, even 10 is more than enough because we already have to take care of what happens in our community. Because even sometimes the residents commit crimes that we have to go on a lockdown. The neighboring schools have to go on a lockdown. And more than anything, do we have the public service to be able to cover those issues if they arise? The traffic, in case there's an emergency with our students, in case anything happens, for us, it is a concern. I'm not against building a hotel and having this town grow because as educators, that's what we want. We want our kids and our talent to stay here, not to leave. And these investors are coming into our town, but it's just a location. It's for safety of our kids. It's for safety of our community. It's for safety of all of us. It's not just, okay, we're here to make money, we're here to make our city grow. We also have to see about what's right for our kids and our community. So with that said, I am in favor of having that hotel, but not the location for the safety of our kids and our community. So with that said, my name is Luisa Arriola, President of the Teacher Union at Pasco.
Thank you, Ms. Arriola. And I do want to make a comment on that as an educator myself. I think it's important that we look at the geographic zoning of the schools. To my understanding, Ed Pastor services schools on one side of Juan Sanchez, where the students would not be crossing, at least from the elementary school, toward the side of the hotel. Also, as the mayor mentioned earlier, education is important, and we need to continue educating our youth and our teenagers. Like we grew up with stranger danger, don't get near strangers, don't approach certain areas. And I want to say that our police force here and the city of San Luis works very well with our school district and supporting and educating the youth of our community. And I've witnessed a lockdown myself where I was able to see city of San Luis work in conjunction with other law enforcement agencies as the sheriff's office, Arizona Department of Public Safety, state troopers, Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol. So in case of an emergency, the city of San Luis does not stand alone. So we do have the support from other local governing agencies that have law enforcement to their service. Thank you.
I have a comment about what Councilmember Gloria Torres said about that we don't have land. Couple years ago, I was in a meeting here. There was an approval for construction of a new hotel on Main Street and 22nd. Is this the same hotel? If it is, why was the location changed?
Mr. Sherrard?
Good evening, Council. My name is Sharat Kadakia. I'm the founding principal of Greens Group. We own and operate 21 hotels from Utah to Yuma. We have 5 hotels under construction today. The reason that the hotel we could not put across from Walmart, diagonal from Chevron, was multiple reasons. Staff knows about it. There's no utilities there. There is no, APS wanted us to move the light poles. The grade level of that corner is way below the highway. We had to do a lot of filling. The cost of bringing the infrastructure to that corner would not make justification for the project cost. The infrastructure cost itself was too huge, and that there was no way the project would have penciled financially. Based on the rates that government per diem rate is there in San Luis. Government employees, Highway Patrol, APS, ADOT, whoever stays at our hotels, they have a particular fixed price from the federal government and state government. Based on those numbers, there was no way we could have made that particular project at that particular corner pencil. That is why we couldn't do that project at that time. We've struggled for it. We had a lot of discussion with the city. We had staff was very accommodative. Our engineers drew everything. We did a site plan, we did a utility plan, we did everything. When the costing came out, it was just prohibitively expensive to do the project. For rest of the questions, Adam will join and answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening, council members. My name is Eric Gonzalez, and I've been a resident here for just a little bit over 5 years now. I live in 4028 East East San Diego Street. And, as a fellow resident here, I'm originally from San Diego, born and raised in San Diego. And long story short, do I believe that a hotel is good for our community? Yes. Do I feel like the location of this new build is the ideal location? No. And the reason why I say that is, again, as a resident here, I have 2 girls that are in high school. And I'm not too necessarily concerned. I agree with what Mrs. Torres is saying in terms of the safety for our children. But, those are factors as a father that you do think about. Do I think, again, a hotel is good for our community in terms of longevity, in terms of revenue? Yes, definitely. It creates jobs for us, as for our fellow residents here. But most importantly, one of the biggest topics that you guys touched about earlier is traffic flow. To me as a resident, that's one of the biggest concerns for me is it's bad enough that Cesar Chavez is already completely saturated as it is during those high peak hours. So how is this hotel how is that gonna benefit us as residents, bringing in this new location with 132 rooms? And most importantly, like Ms. Ariola touched about, in terms of resources, it's bad enough that, unfortunately, I understand that we don't have the fundings for certain resources, but have we really done an analysis on, unfortunately, hotels are good, but, it has its pros and it has its cons. Have we really looked into an analysis, or have we looked at the data in terms of also crime rates that hotels also produce? I also do believe that, again, that's where the negative side comes in. And I say that respectfully only because my father was also in the hospitality industry for 34 years. He was a chief engineer. And so it's one of those things for me, those are little things that I have to look at, as a fellow resident here. And, again, I'm just here to voice my opinion. And do I think that a hotel is good for our community? Yes. But do I feel like that location is, again, ideal? No. I think that, maybe there's other little things that I understand that maybe we're limited on land. But, that's maybe, I don't know, I just feel like it's not the best place. And to me, I just feel it's not just about the children, but it's also, again, like they talked about the traffic flow and stuff like that. Because we all know, I've been here 5 years, and we all know how that traffic flow gets during those peak hours. It's already saturated. So it's, what are we doing in terms of, how is that going to benefit me, bringing in a hotel? Besides the fact of having my family come over on the weekends, does that make sense? So.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. So, I can answer just a few thoughts coming through my mind as you're speaking. Well, one, it'll increase our tax revenue for the city, which allows us to have more funding, fund those positions that we need in our police department and other departments that are critical. Another other thing, the traffic, we are currently working with Arizona Department of Transportation into widening our Cesar Chavez Boulevard from Avenue E all the way across through town, passing the post office. So I think those are good issues that you're bringing up, and I think that for the vast majority, and we do have a clear solution for it, but I will also let the developers speak and see what they're gonna do about the traffic study.
I appreciate that, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Once again. Okay, here's the thing.
May you state your name and your address, please?
I am James Allen Jr., United States Navy retired dental technician. And I live at 1549 Babbitt Lane here in San Luis, Arizona. I've been here over 18 years. My concern is the same as what they are echoing. First of all, school zones are not just designed for the heck of it. They're designed, first of all, for control and protection. if we violate that by putting something, and once it's there, there's no going back. And once the issues come up, we'll be revisiting it here. If one child gets harmed, molested, injured, maimed, or anything happens to them, the responsibility is going to lie on each of you all's head for approving it. Here's the thing. Yes, another location was in the view, and cost went too high for them and the intricate things they had to go through. But what is worse? To have something happen and we're all going, what the heck can we do now? It's happening right as we speak. First of all, we're a border town. We're dealing with the overrunning of people coming through, not necessarily wanting to stay, but they want the benefits of being American citizens. Some of them coming with bad intentions. We're like shaking a bag of confusion and we're seeing where it's going to get. The problem is we don't want to do that. Let's look at it again. I'm sure the other location, maybe there can be something worked out, but you never mix a commercial business inside a residential area. That's the biggest no. I'm from Washington, D.C. originally. Okay, I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I know what crime's about. I know hearing ambulances going, gunshots. I know what that's like. Now, if you want that, then spin the wheel for the deal. But I will definitely stand up here if anything happens. I'll be the first one to call you all to task. Because children are our biggest investment. Without them, there is no future. That's it.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Miriam Hurtado, yo vivo en San Luis, Arizona, 1610 San Luis Lane, y una de las razones que estoy aquí, sí, estoy de acuerdo con el hotel, pero no con la localidad donde lo quieren construir. Una de las razones que no estoy de acuerdo es que puede fomentar el tráfico de drogas, el tráfico de prostitución, y aparte puede haber tiroteos donde se tengan que cerrar las escuelas. Esto es para protegernos nosotros mismos. No queremos que esto sí puede pasar, no si el hotel está en otra parte, pero lo tenemos muy cerca de nuestros estudiantes. Y incluso estuve leyendo un poquito y ha habido hoteles en Los Ángeles que se han tenido que cerrar por la cuestión de que están en escuelas cercanas, que ha traído todos esos problemas. Si gustan, el hotel se llama Palms en Los Ángeles y se cerró, y una de las razones fue porque causó muchos problemas porque estaba una middle school y una escuela primaria. Yo estoy de acuerdo que se haga el hotel, pero no la localidad. Como dice, estamos aquí para proteger a la comunidad. Y sí queremos traer nuevos trabajos, queremos hacer muchas cosas para nuestra comunidad, pero pues a ver si se pudiera buscar otra localidad. Eso es todo. Y suerte.
Muchas gracias.
I think I got my notes down. First, I'd like to thank the community for their thoughtful suggestions and everything else. And I want to try to massage their concerns anywhere we possibly can, because I'm a father myself, and I would also want to make sure that this is properly vetted. So first, as far as abductions or the safety of children walking in front of the hotel, it's an interior corridor hotel. It's staffed in the front. There's only keyed entries in the back. Once you're a hotel guest, you get a key, you can go in the back. It's going to be monitored 24/7. security cameras. And from what I'm hearing today, it sounds like we want to put security cameras in the parking lot as well, on top of the light fixtures, which we were happy to do. As far as traffic goes, so what everybody was saying earlier, the traffic is already coming from Yuma and other places. People go to San Luis because they're going to San Luis. They're not going to San Luis because you built a hotel. So what we're actually doing, in my opinion, is we're actually gonna be taking trips off the road that are going from longer away to actually be closer to where their actual final destination is. So I actually think traffic is gonna help by putting the hotel in. As far as the AM, PM peak hours, we haven't done a trip generation specific for this one, but like hotels are generally speaking about 50 peak hour trips in the morning. And what that means is you have 30 coming in, you have like 20 leaving the site at any given time. So that's in the grand scheme of things, that's actually very minimal because as we just stated earlier, usually the traffic threshold for even needing a traffic impact study is having 100 trips like that. So we're about half that. I also want to point out that this is commercially zoned. Hotels from actual commercial development is actually very limited with respect to traffic compared to like if you had a drive-through or maybe like even in an office building or something along those lines. So from an impact perspective, hotels are actually very beneficial in commercial zones. As far as just trying to see if I got all the notes here from everybody's concerns. So I'm trying to think on if there was anything else or if council has any other concerns or if I may have missed a comment. I'd like Rod also to elaborate on some of our other existing hotels operations.
Once again, council, thank you for your time. I thank the community for their concerns. I have 4 grandkids too, and I fully understand where they're coming from. Let me explain the fundamental differences of what we are looking at. This is not a motel. This is a Hilton product. Hilton is the 2nd largest hotel company in the world. Hampton Inn is the best business hotel in United States today. And I'm bringing the best hotel of the 2nd best hotel chain in the country in San Luis. The project cost is going to be somewhere between $25 and $27.5 million. When we put that kind of an investment, do you think we want something like an exterior corridor, mom and pop, 20-room hotel, problems of safety? I have hotels at Best Western in Parker. I have a Hampton Inn in Parker. I just opened a Hampton Inn in Needles. I have a Hampton Inn in Riverside downtown. I have a Hampton Inn in Veterans Plaza. I'm building a hotel in Havasu. It's gonna open up next month. We have a hotel next to the Highway Patrol Department in San Bernardino, which is opening next month. I have a hotel in Big Bear under construction right now. We take the responsibility of being a community member very, very strongly. Please understand how it works. There is no entrances from the back of the hotel. Nobody can get into the hotel without a key card. All the rooms, all the exits have electronic locks. We do not rent rooms to local people unless it is insurance-based, like means somebody's house has a flood and they need to stay, or somebody has guest who has, somebody became sick and somebody has to come and stay because they have got family members coming to visit. Then they have a local address. We know it. The front desk vets it out and makes sure the people who stay are legit people. I am kind of little, this is the first time in so many years of my experience. I started hotel in 1988. I have never had a question of child abduction in a Hilton. It can happen. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but I am saying the way that things are designed, the way the hotel thinks, the way Hilton thinks, the way Marriott thinks. This is very important for us. To answer the question about every light pole that is there on the site plan has a camera system. Please go and look at my Hampton Inn in Parker. Look at my Hampton Inn in Needles. We have cameras at every light pole. Every corridor has cameras. First floor, second floor, third floor, all corridors have cameras. All entrances have cameras. Desk is manned 24/7. It is not somebody pressing a bell and then somebody opening up a door and coming out, waking up and like that. It is not true. We have staff round the clock. We are looking at about 28 to 30 people employed full-time in the city. And any other question, please ask me. I mean, we have 21 hotels from Fairfield Inn by Marriott. I just came today morning from 29 Palms. I'm building a home in 29 Palms, and I just bought the Fairfield Inn in 29 Palms. And we are coming from there, and we are right there in Parker. I'm in middle of the town. I have high school right behind me. I have never had this problem. I'm in Parker from 1996. It's a small community. It is smaller than San Luis. I'm open to council member asking me any questions on the operations side, on the security side. And I can assure you this, that as a company policy, we do not rent rooms to anybody who doesn't have an ID, doesn't have a credit card. Somebody comes in and says, here is $40. No, the rooms are when you put $25 million, our room rate starts at $120 a night. We are not going to take somebody walking in and giving $120 and say we want a room. Doesn't work like that. They need to have a credit card, which has to be run. They have to have a driver's license, which is taken care of. And 80% of our customers come from Hilton app. They are Hilton customers, they are Hilton loyalty customers. And a hotel this is not a destination town that you have people coming as a destination. Today, there is a vacuum of no hotel rooms, highway patrol. Everybody runs to Yuma to stay. I have Best Western in Yuma, which I own. You can check with city of Yuma. I'm building a residence inn by Marriott in Yuma. It's already council approved. I've submitted my construction drawings. And today we got our first comments back on our construction drawings. We're going to break ground in June there. So we are professional hotel operators. We take the community very seriously. We take our reputation, our investment, and our risk analysis very, very seriously. I'm open to any questions the city council has.
I do have a question, Mr. Vice Mayor, if I may. So as everyone is aware, Cesar Chavez Boulevard is expanding. How is that gonna work out if I'm not a traffic engineer and I don't purport to be one, but what if the traffic study or whatever requirements warrant a, let's say a crossing bridge for children to cross safely? Would you be willing to do that? Because this is just a condition of permit, right? We're not approving the site plan or anything right now. So we're at that stage where we can say, we want this or we need this, and then we move forward. Or
Vice Mayor and City Council, just for clarification, the only reason why the applicant is here today is because the size of the building is bigger than 50,000 square feet. We're not approving the site plan or building permits. It's just to allow them to go higher than 50,000 square feet. That's it.
Council member, to answer your question. A hotel has less traffic than an 800 square feet drive-through Starbucks. I own Starbucks. I have 4 of them. I'm building 2 of them right now, one in Needles and one in Riverside. And I can assure you this, that even an 800 square feet Starbucks has more traffic than my 133 room hotel. The trip generation in a hotel is very, it's less than a medical office. The building looks big. think how many times does a customer walk in and how many times he goes out? He comes once a day and he leaves once a day in the morning and goes back. So the traffic at the hotel level is very, very minimum, sir. And that is why we said we'll generate traffic memo and give it to you. We believe that our traffic memo will be somewhere between 50 to 55 trips a day. Like 55 cars coming in, going out. How is that gonna affect Cesar Chavez Boulevard? You have a gym next to me, and I can guarantee you that that has 300 trip counts a day. I'm being logical, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrard.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions from council?
No, I just want to make a comment, Vice Mayor. I want to thank you for clarifying that how your businesses are so safe. Thank you so much. I think that helps all the residents, brings peace to their mind. And I just want to thank you because you will have cameras at every light. And like you said, addressing the 50 to 55 trips a day of vehicles less than Starbucks. We have a Starbucks on Main Street. So yeah, those are all good concerns that our residents have. And of course, the safety issue. I'm also a parent, a grandmother, and an advocate for domestic violence. It's like my priority. And I thank you for bringing that peace of mind. I have a question for Lieutenant Santana. Can you please approach the council?
He's like, why so far?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members.
I just had a question. How do you see this? Are you concerned, like the questions that the residents have? Do you see this as an issue?
I would have to know a little bit more about it. Because my concern is mainly based on the fact that the city of San Luis is growing quite a bit. It's booming. I think there's a lot of growth, a lot of great opportunity for the city. I've been here 20 years as an officer, and the population back in those days was about 20,000 people. Now we got 40, if maybe more. So any type of business such as this, it's obviously gonna help the city no matter what. In our part, as far as the police department goes, we are in need of growth, and that is being worked on. I know that there is a lot of support from our council and mayor and our administration as well. So that's one thing that I think will help. We can't compare this city to city of Los Angeles. I can tell you that much. Nevertheless, I won't be here by the time if it does happen to grow as much as LA. So yeah, it's a very good question. I'd have to ask, I'd have to know a few more things on it. One particular thing that I did get a chance to see, and again, my main focus here is safety. But I did happen to listen a little bit of a particular that we're talking about actual trafficking with children and so on and so forth. We have not really dealt with any situation per se. I can't think of a very particular incident that we've dealt with. But nevertheless, my point would be focused on safety at all times. So will there be police officers in the area? I guarantee you there will be. We would like to have more officers to make sure that we put them in very specific areas and directions. But again, it's I don't know if we're delaying the inevitable. This is eventually going to happen. We need the growth for many reasons. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. I have a few questions if I really want to answer that particular question.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Vice Mayor, if I may add a comment. Go ahead.
I just have a question. I don't know if you can answer that, but is this hotel gonna be I know it's gonna have a restaurant, it's gonna be selling alcohol. And if it does, is this, location of this hotel within the boundaries of law about selling, alcohol in open containers next to a school?
Thank you, Councilman, for this wonderful question. This is called All Hamptons and All Home Tours by Hilton. Do not have a restaurant. So we have no restaurant traffic at all. We have only resident traffic. We give breakfast in the morning, full. What we have is a system which is now designed, and we put it in all our Hiltons. It's called Pour My Beer. So we do not serve, there is no actual serving, but that we will come back to the council or alcohol for alcohol license. It's a kiosk which works only with the key card of the hotel. And that key card has to be in the hands of the people who are 18 years and older. And they are right in front of the front desk. So the customer can take a beer and enjoy on the pool or in the lobby in the evening times between 5 and 7. That is called happy hour, and it is there in all upper end hotels. We give what is called a manager special, like we'll give chips and salsa or something to munch on. And it is as a goodwill to our customers that they can take the beer. But that beer is again charged to the hotel. So it goes on their invoice. It is not an 18-year-old or a 12-year-old kid can come and take a beer. It doesn't work like that. It's a system which is completely right in front of the front desk. It's called Pour My Beer. You can look it up. It is connected with the Hilton software. So whoever has the key can go in and take it. And it is not open for public. So nobody can from street can come and take an alcohol at the hotel. It is not allowed. They just can't take it. That's it. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I just want to add that we do have Rose and Bowls serving alcohol diagonally from Southwest Junior High.
Percy, Bodega, Queens
Yeah.
Food.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment. You know, we've been working on this with this developer for, I think, Ralph, 8 years, 8 years. And they've done studies, we've seen them before, or, presented to council. And at the end of the day, a lot of the users that are going to be staying in this hotel, again, hotel, not a motel, by Hilton, which unfortunately I get to travel a lot and stay in your hotels. I'm a gold level, whatever you call it. It's going to be a lot of law enforcement that's going to be staying there. We do have a high need of it by CBP, Border Patrol. We have ICE, we have marshals. So a lot of the need that we need for a hotel in our community is not just for the residents, but also for the supporting law enforcement that we do have in our community. In my travels and in preparation for this, since we started this 3-4 years, I look at these hotels that I stay at for Hilton, and I've talked to staff, and the safety is more safe in one of these hotels. If we're worried about our kids, which I myself, a father of 4, live across the street from this development, I would have the same concerns. We have more risk of someone renting a house down the street that we have no control, no cameras of, doing something. So I think security-wise, I think we're covered, and Hilton does a great job and community-oriented. And again, there's going to be a lot of police and law enforcement presence that will be occupying this hotel. It's just because of the nature of our community and the use that we have. Again, location-wise, we've discussed this personally, one-on-one. Unfortunately, the whole Cesar Chavez Strip is commercially zoned and most of it is state land. There's no other places in our city that we can put a hotel or that he could put a hotel. The whole Cesar Chavez Strip and 10th Avenue is school-oriented. Unfortunately, you can't get around that the way the city was built 40 years ago before our time. So with that promise of the site view for the residents in the back, with cameras, security, and knowing the installations that Hilton prides themselves on, I think it's a great project for our community. And thank you for staying working here for the past 6 years.
Thank you, council member. I have to add one more thing, and just for safety purposes and for peace of mind, I'm saying this. The primary focus for us is if there is a lady traveler who's traveling, she parks her car in the parking lot. There is enough lighting in the whole parking lot in the night that anybody walking there or walking in the parking lot feels 100% secured. And those cameras are not hidden. They are very visible. So somebody understands that there is a big arm, with the big camera hanging from the light pole. They know it's a 360 degrees camera is taking pictures nonstop. And that record, anytime the police department wants it, they can take it from us for a period of 60 days. There is no question.
Thank you. I
Thank
think
you.
Lieutenant Santana wanted to add something else.
I had a question for the gentleman here. No, you guys would have cameras, correct? Yes, sir. So we have an amazing project at the San Luis Police Force called the Flock Safety. And I'm not sure if you heard of it, Flock Safety. We would be able to maybe work in one way or another, bring it up to administration where we would have access to your cameras. You know, which would focus on the safety of even people inside. Obviously, the cameras would be on the outskirts or something to where if we need to locate something, I mean, that might be something. But my main thing in here is I wanted to remind everyone that we are the 4th safest city in the state of Arizona. And we pride ourselves in that.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Sir,
Fernand-
I can do even better. Sir, I'll give you, and I can make this as a promise to you. As long as my attorneys can clear this, and it is not a privacy issue, a problem. I have no problem anytime for 60 days, it's on a hard disk. And if you want, you can come and access the camera. We have other hotels where you have a road accident and you want to see from the angle of the hotel, if there was a road accident and how did that happen? Law officers, a lot of time comes to our hotel and say, hey, we had an accident there. Can we access your camera? More than welcome. Absolutely no issue.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrod.
Fernando or Kay, I think that. I'm sorry. I think that as long as the conditions are included on the any and all, you know, outside improvements and that they, if they comply with all the city regulations and at any point they don't, just bring it back to council, can we approve it up, but with that? Not caveat, but with that. Yes, no, maybe.
You want to add a condition?
With that,
Not, I don't want to add any conditions. I want to make sure that any and all conditions and outside improvements are gonna be done, whatever warrants the study, and that if at any point they don't, like, I'm not saying they won't, just in case.
Oh, yeah,
'cause-
this is just the rezoning, right?
Yeah,
right.
again, and I know what stuff we have, but if we just add that we're gonna prove it, and if something stops or whatever, just bring it back to council and deal with it then.
Well, I mean, I think the question right now is the applicant's okay with the 2 conditions that staff is recommending, correct? Okay. And then that concern would be addressed in the development part of it when they actually submit a formal site plan, and that's when it comes back for any condition.
Mr. Vice Mayor, if I may.
Fernando, so tonight is strictly the
Rezoning approval of the size of the building.
conditional use permit.
Right, conditional use.
Yeah,
permit.
okay.
Come back with a site plan, site improvements to include Cesar Chavez frontage
Correct,
and traffic across the street.
correct.
And everything else that's required has to be accepted by the developer. If it's not, then you all have a decision to make. Those will be the conditions based on
You should have started the
our
presentation
development
with,
and planning department.
Thank you, Ralph.
thank
And-
you.
Any other questions from the community or from
Fernando,
council?
Did I miss anything?
Well, Mr. Vice Mayor and council members, we have 2 conditions. One, the first one is that they have to meet with all the requirements, which is zoning regulation, building code requirements, public works standards, and subdivision regulations, because they're gonna go through a subdivision process also to split the property in half. The second is the traffic study. Whatever the traffic study says, all the improvements are gonna be done by the developer. If this gets approved today, the next step is gonna be submitting building permits to us. And, planning and zoning department, we have to make sure that these conditions are met. Otherwise, the permit will not be approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Hey, look here, is this our standard 100 trips? Or is this a hotel requirement?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, city manager. So our standards has 100 trips,
Okay.
in the standard. However, staff has the ability, the option to require, if we have good reasoning why we need additional, study or additional, work done from the consultants or the applicant. One thing though that I want to mention is really, it's more on the planning and zoning side, but I just listening to all the good points. I just want to mention, one of the reasons that I guess is the CUPs we're here tonight is the size of the building. Is that correct? If the hotel would have been smaller, it would have just done a done deal without having to be presented to council. So I wanted to just mention that so it's clear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Any other questions from the community? If not, I would like to entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So move.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we need a motion for the item.
Vice Mayor, if I may, I move to approve conditional use permit case number 2022-0592, subject to the conditions of approval presented by staff.
Second.
There's a motion. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Duly noted. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6F. Discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding order number 2023-01. An order of the mayor and city council of the city of San Luis, Arizona, authorizing and directing the acquisition of all property necessary for the completion of the construction of a portion of 21st Avenue between County 23rd and a half Street and County 24th Street, a portion of County 24th Street between 21st Avenue and Avenue E, and land necessary for a wastewater lift station on the corner of County 24th Street and 21st Avenue within the city of San Luis by dedication, donation, purchase, exchange, or under the power of eminent domain as a matter of public necessity. Kate McQuill, City Attorney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sonia, would you please put up the diagram attachment? So this is the area that we're asking to obtain for roadways. The first one is north-south First Avenue, south of 23rd and a half, County 23rd and a half Street. And the next one is what I requested before in January of last year. I couldn't believe it was that long ago. The County 24th Street between E and 21st Avenue. And then finally, we believe that this last one is already dedicated to the city, but we're going to do research just in case, so we're asking to acquire that if it's needed after our research. It's the land that the lift station is already on and access to it for maintenance.
Is there any questions, concerns? Everybody in the council knows what she's talking about. There's a history behind this. If there's no questions, concerns, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve order number 2023-01.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Everybody in agreement?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Kate.
Item number 6G, Discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding resolution number 2242, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of San Luis, Arizona, amending section HR 4-03A of the city of San Luis personnel policies relating to holidays, repealing conflicting provisions and providing for severability. Ralph Velez, interim city manager.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, in your packet, you have a summary of staff requests. We're asking to remove Columbus Day as a paid holiday and replace that with the American Heritage Day, which will be the Friday after Thanksgiving, and remove the COVID-19 Remembrance Paid Holiday, but keep it as a remembrance day for those employees that lost their lives during their work term here in the city. So again, remove Columbus, replace it with the Friday after Thanksgiving, and remove the COVID-19 as a paid holiday, but keep it as a remembrance day.
Any questions, concerns, comments?
Comments, I guess, I just, for the record, I think that the Columbus Day should stay and be called, Indigenous American Peoples' Day and celebrate the history. We are in between 2 and maybe 4 tribes if we count the 2 in Mexico. And I don't think we should take yet another perk or holiday that we have for the employees. If you don't want to call it a COVID Remembrance Day, you can call it a mental health day, even though there's a lot of stigma, but even you, Vice Mayor, when you went on Aleo, they pounded a lot on having on being, having self-care and having those holidays appropriated for the employees. So the fact that we're taking away, the system has always worked. And I think that with any holiday, not just the one in October, but if any employee wants to exchange a day for another or work 5 holidays to be 5 days off, again, I think that's operational and that's to department heads, not to us. So just against removing that extra holiday, it should be Indigenous people stay when the day it is, mostly nationally and statewide, and or Native American, but Indigenous is what it was celebrated lately.
But that's what
No, I know, that's, so, just that comment.
Appreciate your comment. The reasoning behind this is that we're changing that holiday to the Friday after Thanksgiving, okay? There's Thursday, and then there's a Friday. I think it's a great benefit to have those 2 days off. The holiday of Thanksgiving, and then the Native American Heritage Day is a paid holiday. And we did a little survey with employees, and they like that idea, okay? Having Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving off.
Mayor, then why don't we leave Native American Day the day it's supposed to be and make the Remembrance Day or Pandemic or COVID-19 Day that Friday that you guys are trying to do to have that?
Because we have
That
a
will still give
fiduciary duty to take care of the city's monies, okay? And it's a paid holiday. And this is before me, it was called what is it? The COVID holiday remembrance. And, but we're the only city that has done that. I'm more frugal, and I take very seriously about the way we spend money. Okay, if it was a private company and I wanted to do it, I'm spending money from my company. But this is the city's money. And we have that holiday, and it was getting paid. Is to me, that's not acceptable. Because if we're gonna start making these holidays and paying for them, when is it gonna stop? That's my issue. That's the way I think. And at the end of the day, it's up to everybody to decide if they like this or not. I'm okay either way. My perspective, I got elected to do certain things, and one of them, I gotta take care of the city's finances too.
Mayor, if I may, we also in these 11 holidays, we do have some holidays that are not federal holidays. Wouldn't it be more of a best practice to have all of the recognized holidays as our policy versus the ones that we feel are more appropriate? I know that Juneteenth is a federal holiday. I know Cesar Chavez Day is not a federal holiday, and I know Columbus Day is also a federal holiday because of people don't work, at least teachers don't work during Columbus Day.
That was my concern, that if we take
so-
away Columbus Day, the schooling for the parents is gonna cause some conflict there.
Sorry, I wasn't finished. And I know like Mr. De La Hoya mentioned, mental health is important. We do have those general day leaves, general leave to take those mental health days that we need. So if there's time that you need to take care of yourself, you do have those hours allocated for you to take care of yourself and take care of your family. So to me, I see it as that it would be more of a best practice to have all of the recognized federal holidays rather than have holidays made up by city council.
How much money are we talking about?
We're saving one day.
Well, I know, but
Money wise, I don't have an answer.
It's not just that day, it's everything that comes with payroll, okay? How about if council wants to work on this and bring their ideas, we can table this one. We can continue it, okay? But we need to talk about it. One of our responsibilities is to take care of the city finances. Okay, after us, another council comes and they're gonna call a rainbow day because it's a pay holiday and a rainbow appear in San Luis. And I know that it just like, we need to be careful, okay? We need to be careful. We have an obligation. And it's not like the city of San Luis have tons of money. And this is not aimed and against the city employees. This is about our responsibility. Like I said, if it was my money, I would not have a problem, but it's not my money.
With all due respect, Mayor, how many other holidays do we have that were created by council?
Cesar Chavez.
Cesar Chavez only, which is pretty much
That's it.
picking up nationwide,
That
right?
one and, I'm sorry, and
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, I would agree. Go ahead.
The Juneteenth holiday, it may be a federal holiday, but it's not recognized in Arizona.
Yeah, correct.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so that's, see, I would agree if there was 10 holidays that were created by council and if we see this a trend, but again, this holiday was created to honor those employees that work hard and gave the ultimate prize. Now, if that one day we don't have the budget, I agree with you. This should be something that should have been probably done in a work session with more information, more data, so we can make an educated decision versus doing it right now in council when we don't have that information. So with that said, I would make a motion to continue this item to a work session with more information available for council.
I'll second that one. We have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor of continuing this and having a work session, signifying by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank
Item
you,
number
Marcus.
7, summary of current events by mayor, council members, and or city manager pursuant to ARS section 38-431.02K. Are there any reports from the mayor, council members, city manager?
If I may, I just want to share that earlier today, I attended the Yuma County Chamber Mixer at the restaurant Malquerida here in our our city. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay throughout the event because of the commitment to the council meeting, but it seems like they were having a great time and the place was getting full of visitors from businesses from throughout Yuma County. So that was great to see people coming into our community and spending their money here. So that's always a great thing.
That's awesome. It's really good to have these events. It's too bad that,
Yeah.
I didn't have time to attend. My question is, was it free food?
Sort of.
Okay, well, see, I missed it. Anybody else? Tomorrow, Campesinos Sin Fronteras, they're gonna do recognition to the seniors at the senior center at 11 o'clock. Everybody's invited. If you can, make time. I plan on being there. And this is something that Campesinos Sin Fronteras is doing to recognize the seniors of our community. If that's it and nobody else has anything, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Everybody in favor signifying by saying yes,
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Good night, everybody. Thank you, council, for everybody being here. You make me real happy.